Well, me and Bianca have kind of been in the same circle for a little while, but it basically boiled down to a Black Pound Day event that was happening at the West Indian Centre on Carmel Road. And a lady called Sharon Raymond, who I would call is like my personal mentor, she's just a Manchester legend, also has a great relationship with Bianca. And she was like, you know what, you guys need to talk because we're in the same circle, having the same conversations with everybody else but each other. So she connected us and was like, right, why don't you guys ask Contact if you can just do a black market for Christmas? And literally, so that happened on the Saturday. And the following week, we went to Contact, we had a conversation, and Melanin Markets was created.
Amos, Madra.
Bianca, Kelly, a warm welcome to you both. Thank you for joining us here today. So you've got a market festival coming up soon. Tell us about it.
Yeah, you go.
Okay, yeah. So we've got Melanin Markets happening at the Contact Theatre, and that's happening on Sunday, the 5th of December at 12 until 5 o'clock. So yeah, it's going to be a great, exciting day of festivities. Come in, like, get your Christmas shopping done with all Black-owned businesses.
Fantastic. Kelly, thank you for explaining that for us. Now, I know that you've got a business of your own as well, haven't you?
Yeah, so I've literally kind of just started up my own business called Plantain Avenue.
Okay.
And the reason I started up that business was because I just felt there wasn't a one-stop place where you could go and buy lots of different, a diverse range of books, toys, gifts, things like that. And so I just thought, right, let me be the person who has a solution to that problem. And so I came up with Plantain Avenue, still building, still like product by product. But yeah, the dream is to hopefully have a store at some point where people know 5 to 6 days a week, that's where you can go get any kind of gifts and things that represent multiculturalism.
That's brilliant. And it's great when it comes from somebody who's a business owner, understands how things are. So you know where the shortfalls are, you know where the shortcomings are,
Exactly.
so you know where the need is, and you've got the privilege of being on both sides and seeing what the need is and how to provide that need. And Bianca, you're in the same sort of position. You're a business owner too.
Yeah, that's right. So my business is called Ruby Dean Designs, and it's named after my nana. So she's a living legend. She's from Jamaica, so everything is inspired by her love for, beautiful homeware, jewelry, the colors of the Caribbean, and just, things that make you feel good and make you it brings you joy.
Yeah.
So I make all my products in Manchester. And my goal as well is to have, it would be like an artisan of small local businesses in one retail space. So I'm working towards having something that looks like a Selfridges, but you can walk in and you can see a small brand that does Kente cloth clothing. You can turn to the left and see someone that makes Afro combs. It's just a place that you walk in that feels communal, and it's by us for us.
I think that's a brilliant idea. I love the name, by the way. Your grandma's got a lovely name, and the
Thank
story
you.
behind it as well. I think it's always nice when there's a story behind a particular product or service. You look at Apple as well. Steve Jobs made that product what it was and what it is because of the story behind it. There's a culture related to it, and in today's society, it's all about community. It's all about culture. So it's again bringing those things in together nicely, which is what you guys are doing. How did you come up with this idea? How did the two of you meet, and at what point did you realize we need to do something?
Well, me and Bianca have kind of been in the same circle for a little while, but it basically boiled down to a Black Pound Day event that was happening at the West Indian Centre on Carmore Road. And a lady called Sharon Raymond, who I would call is like my personal mentor. She's just a Manchester legend. Also has a great relationship with Bianca. And she was like, you know what, you guys need to talk because we're in the same circle, having the same conversations with everybody else but each other. So she connected us and was like, right, why don't you guys ask Contact if you can just do a black market for Christmas? And literally, so that happened on the Saturday. And the following week, we went to Contact, we had a conversation, and Melanin Markets was created.
Yeah, and the thing is that I have just finished working full time at Contact. So I've worked there for on and off for the past 15 years. And I was a part of their marketing team, and I was doing all of these things for theatre productions, and thought to myself, you know what, I want to do something in my community, for my community. I am a black business owner. I'm in a theatre which is still seen as a white space, and there's much of the community who haven't been into theatres and also Contact Theatre. So the fact is that Kelly used to also work for Contact, and I was like, we both feel passionately about this place. We're both in the position to be able to platform people in an unexpected place. Let's just do it. Let's run with it.
Yeah, it's funny how things come round full circle. The very place you were running away from is now become your safe haven, and it's like where your dreams are becoming a reality. And again, it's fantastic when I hear you talk about having a mentor and someone who's influenced you. Talk to us a bit about that. How did that relationship start, and when did you realize that a mentor is someone who was going to help you with your journey?
You know what, with Sharon has done so much within Manchester. She's taken on so many roles, worked at so many artistic venues that everyone knows her and loves her. And naturally, day to day, she's advising you. She's giving you her life experience. And I just know that one day I must have met her, but I feel like I've known her my whole life. And whenever things, whether it's good, bad, whatever ups and downs happen, she's someone that I know I can go to who doesn't have any judgment. And then over time, it was like, you're like a mum, you're like a sister. No, you're a mentor because you're helping me to build my own legacy. And also, I actually have another mentor, a guy called Danny. He runs an organisation called £30 Gentlemen. He has a history with Contact too.
I was working with Danny.
He worked with Kelly years ago.
Yeah.
But he's actually got like a patron put together where you can sign up and get different levels of mentorship. So his is a more structured format, and he's predominantly within the music events type of side. But he, alongside with Sharon, it's integral that you have people who you can turn to for support, but also people who have been through it. And because they are older than me, they have that wisdom. So when I was younger and thought I knew everything, and really I was winging it, they were able to bring me back to the ground.
And I'm sure, Kelly, you can also, vouch for that. And also really important is having each other as well. You seem to have that great chemistry.
Absolutely. We were talking about this just a minute ago, and I was saying, like, there's so many barriers that we face as Black women in these spaces, and it can be difficult to persevere alone. But actually, we've had a few hiccups, and then we've been able to bounce off each other in order to navigate that. And yeah, there's just things that we shouldn't have to do alone anyway, that we don't have to do alone because we've been able to support each other. So if there's something that I felt particularly anxious about, Bianca's been able to turn around and go, you know what, that's valid. Like, I understand that, and let's kind of air it out and see what we can do to navigate that in a positive way.
Yeah. And much of this, setting up this event has meant that we're having to translate why we need this event many times to different people. And sometimes the wording that we have used, such as, tweets have gone out and whatnot, and you've had people respond to those and be like, wait a minute, why is it only for Black businesses? And we're having to constantly explain ourselves and explain it in a way that can be heard. And sometimes it can be very exhausting. So I've been able to turn to Kelly and say, do you feel a bit of fatigue too? And she's like, yeah. She was like, it's what comes with trying to make space for Black people. It's what comes with putting on a Christmas market event and saying everyone is welcome, but actually we're celebrating Black businesses right now, and there's nothing wrong with that. And we've been trying to push our community to have more events like this for quite a while now, and now that we're spearheading it, it's beautiful to be able to do it with somebody that actually understands where you're coming from.
Yeah, and I'm glad you addressed that, because I'm sure that's something behind the scenes that you're constantly having to deal with. And you said, you know, getting fatigued with having to answer and reply to people's messages, because they'll feel, you know, why are you excluding me and, you know, my community? But as you said, you know, this is a time when such an event is needed for the Black community. Do you envisage maybe opening up to a wider audience in the future to allow other communities to participate?
I think it'd be a bit odd under the name Melanin Markets, but not closed off to that idea, because I think ultimately one of the things that we think is happening with this event is that it's creating access and it's creating steps towards something else. So for instance, there has been barriers within our communities around registering things and, you know, insurance and things like that. Because we don't have these conversations. I'd never had these conversations at home around kind of like business and finance and those kinds of things. So when I'm ready to now go into a space, for instance, let's just say if there was like the Trafford Centre and they were having a market or something, I'd feel way too intimidated to do that. But like, where is that in-between space? And we feel like we're presenting that with Melanin Markets. We're kind of going, we understand what the barriers in our community are. So we're going to make sure that everybody's got the certificates and the risk assessments and all those logistics. We're starting to have those conversations so that when we go out into the wider world, we're prepared.
Yeah, and I also feel like we are equipped to be able to help Black businesses because we are Black. We're equipped to be able to understand that we weren't taught about what public liability was. So maybe we're going to shy away from it and say, oh, we can't do the market in Charlton because we don't have public liability. I don't know how to do it. How much is it? Oh, I'll do it next year. Because we understand that, for me personally, I think there's still a lot of work to be done to uplift the Black community. And there's a lot more events that I would like to hold. There's a lot more things I want to be a part of that is specific to the Black community. So until I feel as though I've been able to, you know, pass that torch on to other people that are also doing other markets, that are doing, you know, melanin dating, melanin talks, you know,
Melanin movies.
Melanin movies, and we're informing people, we're sharing our culture until we get to that stage in Manchester. I think that right now that's the motive. I think right now that's the focus.
And I suppose it's good to have a very narrow focus. Then that way, you know specifically what your aim is, your target audience, and of course, building that brand as well. What can the public expect when they attend this market?
Woo! Lots of festive fun, great vibes, lots of Christmas spirit. We've got people that will be doing what we've got, like ginger beer, rum beer, winery, bits of food, lots of handmade crafts. I myself will be doing like a bit of jewelry, like I've got this Africa chain and puzzles, Christmas cards which have a level of diversity in them, where it's like, okay, you want a Christmas card with someone who looks like you on it, that kind of thing.
Will there be a Santa as well?
Yeah, so we've got a few surprises in the pipeline, but like I've got a range of like mugs which have like black Santas on them, and that's a thing where it's like, who said that Santa had to be white? Why is it that we take a picture with just a white Santa all the time? So it's things that really push you to think, but also we've got vendors who their materials come from Ghana. They have backgrounds such as being from South Africa. We've got other vendors who they're based in Amsterdam and they want to show their range here. So yeah, it's people from all over doing lots of things, and it's just a nice way to get into the Christmas spirit. But it's not just going to the city centre and doing the regular Christmas markets that we've become used to.
Yeah, I think you've kind of gone on to my next question, Bianca. I was going to ask, has the City Council been involved? Have they supported you on this? And of course, it's running in line, well, at the same time as the Christmas markets. And this is the first year that I think it's back since pre-pandemic.
Yeah, the City Council granted our market license.
Like in a split second. We were rushing because we were like, right, we've got this idea. There's 2 and a bit months left until like Christmas. How are we going to make sure that we can make it all happen? But actually, with the universe and I think the energy behind the Black Pound Day movement, people have been really supportive and understanding of the reason as to why we want to make this work. And I can say as well that, yeah, Manchester City Council have only had like a tiny part to play in this, but just granting the license, because that's another thing we didn't know we had to have a license to have a market. Like we didn't know that,
because it's indoors in a venue that's already licensed. It was like those intricacies which we had to learn about. But on top of that, we put the application forward online, and then a lady from the council called me. And what was really great is that a lot of the barriers to do with businesses, with holding events, is the jargon that's involved in these applications, and the fact that you can submit documents and not know that it wasn't the right document and then it's been denied. Where she just gave me a call and she broke things down and she said, we need this. You've already given us this. And I was like, great. And then in that conversation, she was like, and by the way, what you're doing is needed and it's great. I was like, thank you. I wish I could remember her name.
It's really interesting when I hear that, because, Kelly, you were talking about the universe and, you're talking about, getting that support, if you want to call it, from, God and, spiritual support, if you want to say that. I want to come to that point in a moment. But of course, you've had, the City Council supporting you. But talk to me about your, your thinking in terms of, why did you say the universe? What does that exactly mean? How does the spiritual element play into this?
I think it's like just how things align, really. Because maybe if we tried to do this 2 years ago, that we'd face all the barriers that we have been facing much harder. Whereas because there's already been conversations around, the Black Lives Matter protests and now Black Pound Day, people are starting to kind of understand a little bit more, and it's just how things are lining up. There's like an energy in the city right now which is calling for an event like Melanin Markets, and so it just means that we've been able to do things a little bit easier than we would have been able to do them before.
And it's about timing. So it's the fact that somehow me and Kelly have been in the same vicinity for years but never actually came across each other, and this time we got together, we're doing this event. It's honestly felt like I've known Kelly my whole life, and we bounce off each other so well that we're able to not only produce this event, but also have our own stalls there, also skill share with the vendors, and also be able to translate what we're trying to do to contact, which, they've played a huge part in this. They're supporting us with venue. They've aided us with costs of things as well. And I just think all of this happening for us, where yes, it's stressful, yes, we've had bumps in the road, but actually it's been pretty smooth sailing. And I don't think that's coincidence. That's graft and hard work and just the timing of everything.
Yeah, it sounds really serendipitous, if I can get the word out.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can see how things have aligned nicely for you, and of course, you've been putting the work in. There's been a lot of late nights, I can imagine. I'm just thinking of the audience at the moment, because they'll be thinking, this sounds great. I'd love to get involved and do something like that. Is it just pure luck, or does that hard work play a part?
It's not luck.
It's definitely graft.
It's an intention.
It's intention. It's communication even as well. I think, it's been about having an idea in the mind and then not closing it down, actually verbalizing it, and then seeing who's around with that same intention to make it happen.
Yeah, and you know what? It's being brave, courageous, because I can tell you that during the pandemic, it was hard. It was hard seeing, people being murdered on your social media constantly, time after time, and then talking about it, and then being told to isolate but march. It was really, really hard. And I feel as though, for me personally, I couldn't have conversations about organizations being anti-racist at that time. I couldn't partake in certain things in my workplace or in the community where I had to talk about these things, because it felt like a lot. And now I feel like I've reached a point where it's like, okay, I've been able to decipher my own thoughts. I've been able to work out, how can I help? What part am I playing? Who am I as a Black person navigating this space? And I think doing this event, we naturally opened ourselves up to those conversations. And with the support of each other, but we've also being able to know ourselves and what our intention is, our goal, our goal. It's just meant that, like I said before, the timing has been great, but we finally feel in a great mental space, and having the right level of courage and support around us to do this, it's just been vital.
Yeah, you stepped up to the cause, and you're answering a calling, and it's more than just a market. There's a lot more to it. On your promotion, I see that you talk about other cities having this sort of market, but yet Manchester's not been doing this for some time, and of course now you've taken that mantle on. Do you plan to expand this to other areas? How big do you want to go?
I don't think we've actually thought about that yet. It's very much we understand what Manchester needs, so we're bringing it to Manchester. We are in full support of other cities that are doing the same. There's like mahogany markets in Leeds. There's an array of things happening in Birmingham, in London, and we're happy to kind of like promote those things as well. I think it would definitely be epic for us all to link up at some point and think about something a bit bigger. But at the moment, we're kind of Manchester focused.
Yeah, I think we're in the moment of this, trying to make this the best that it can be. And I would really love it to be where it's a staple every single Christmas. We know there's a Melanin Markets, and we know that there's always going to be that platform for people to, yes, apply, but also to learn the process. And then they go on from strength to strength. And maybe in the summer we can have a market event that's like a carnival, and there's live elements to it. But I think this step here, I feel like we're on to really big things.
Yeah,
it sounds really good. So tell me, in terms of day to day, what is it that you've got to do in planning and getting vendors, and of course promoting, and all the other stuff that comes along with it?
Well, I think the last 2 weeks has been juggling, speaking to vendors and making sure that they've got all the things that they need to be able to apply. Then it's been about making sure we're promoting it because we need people to know about it, getting in touch with different press places like yourselves. And then also it's been about having our own stalls and stuff and doing our day jobs.
We've got day jobs. We actually have got day jobs.
It's been, and you know what, I think it was yesterday we realized that since we decided to do this event, we haven't taken a day off. We've been on the phone to each other in the night, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. We've been responding to emails at 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning. We didn't take any Sundays off. But now that we've got all of our vendors, we hit capacity 2 weeks before we thought we would.
Yeah. So when we put that call out, literally 2 weeks later, we were so full, we had to close the sign-ups a week before we'd envisioned. And we had over 100 people signing up. And of those, we've got just over 40 confirmed vendors. And we went to contact and we were like, can you open any more spaces? Like, please. Yeah, we don't want to say no.
Yeah.
But if anything, it means that now we've got more than an excuse to keep bringing events like this, because there is a need for it.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, for us, it's been first trying to concentrate on the sign up process. And, you know, my background is marketing. I do digital marketing. So I'm behind the Instagram. But on top of that, we created PDFs specifically for the vendors, where we were like, okay, if you've never done a market before, this is, you know, what you should bring. This is what would be good to bring. This is a visual of the space, like really trying to be hands-on and give one-to-one support. And Kelly's always saying, you're doing too much, you're going above and beyond. And I'm just like, but we know what it was like.
Yeah.
We know those questions that we had, and I don't want somebody to feel like it's too big for them, that they can't do this. But yeah, sorry, I digressed. It's been a multitude of things that we've been doing. And then now we're on to the stage of, we've got the confirmed vendors, we're putting them out on social media every day. We're now putting the word out to say, you know, this is an event that is inclusive to everybody. Everybody can turn up, no matter race, politics, religion, anything. Come and, you know, embrace this event. It's not an alternative Christmas market, it's a Christmas market event. And this time we're celebrating Black businesses.
Yeah. And I think it's, you know, it's quite intentional that we've decided to have it or host it in a building like Contact, or we've been able to hold it in a building like Contact, because, you know, we feel like as a community, sometimes we can stay in our pockets, wherever that may be, whether it's Moss Side or Longside or wherever else. But by getting a bit closer to the heart of the city, being in a place where there's like a student community who want to engage with like the residents as well, it just means that we're in a place and in a space where we can take up space proudly and be amongst everybody.
Yeah, and there are other people who are doing amazing things. Like, we're really good friends with Otis, who runs Tap Projects. He does a lot of events. He put on Black Pound Day event. The first one was October.
The first one was October. That's where we had that conversation with Sharon. And then the second one was just this weekend gone. November's Black Pound Day. So I was there at Carmel Road as well, amongst like a whole load of other sellers. So that's great. And then there's one that happens at the HQ on Claremont Road once a month as well. I think the next one's going to be on the 23rd of November. But these are all these initiatives. And you know what? It's been amazing because we've been able to build networks and build relationships with other Black business owners in a way that we haven't really been able to do before.
And it's been really inspiring seeing what they're doing and seeing how they've had the confidence to do all of this. And I think that what sets us a little bit apart is that we're basically saying, right, now we want to be loud, we want to do it big, we would like it to be a thing of, it's not by the pockets of the community, for the pockets of the community, it's for Manchester. And please travel to us and see this. And, you know, when you just mentioned about could we bring it to other cities, we would absolutely love that. It seems really huge right this second, but it's like, we want to be really loud. We've got 2 floors in Contact Theatre. It's not a place that, you know, the community are familiar with, as in like, it's not second nature for us to walk into a theatre place. So yeah.
Absolutely love it. You know, your passion comes across and your enthusiasm, and you know, this is going to be an incredible event. So for our audience, please again tell them where can they expect to get tickets, where's the event going to be held, and yeah, just as much information as possible so that they can connect as well.
So the event is free.
No ticket.
You don't need a ticket. I mean, I think Contact do have an event page on Facebook. If you want to just let us know that you're turning up, you can do that. But really and truly, it's an open door policy. Come to the Contact Theatre, which is on Oxford Road, on the 5th of December, which is Sunday, between 12 and 5 o'clock.
Yeah, and we've done it strategically so that you can have a late breakfast and a lie-in. You can come to the event, you can have some snacks, and then have Sunday dinner.
Yeah.
Incredible. Wow, Bianca, Kelly, it's been an absolute joy. Thank you so much for stopping by and telling us about this fantastic event that we're all looking forward to. And, you know, one thing that stands out for me is, you know, the two of you, how you've connected, the way you bounce off each other, and the love for what you've, you know, for the community and for what you want to achieve. And, you know, you've answered a calling and you want to do something that's bigger than yourselves. And again, you know, I think there's nothing there isn't anything any more noble than that. And just want to say thank you so much for that.
Thank you. I appreciate you having us on today as well. Thank you.
If you want some amazing inspiration, check out the videos next to me, and I'll see you right there.